Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Oh, this is a good one. This is good for a lot of different reasons. Not only is it a great show and a great stuff that we're talking about, but this is the first time that one of my kids has been hanging out with me while we make the show. My oldest is sitting off camera over here with headphones on. She doesn't have a microphone, but she's here. She can see you guys and hear you, I guess, if you call in, because you can call in. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the format of the show. You can obviously just hang out and listen wherever you like to stream your shows. You can also call into the drunk line. That's right here. See up here on the screen? Like I'm pointing to it here, but it's up here. 567-70 right here. 567-70 drink. That's 567-703-7465. You can call into the show that way. But if you call in, know that my 6-year-old is sitting right there, so don't say anything bad. And then also, if that's not your speed, if you want to do things differently, you can just jump in on the chat, which will pop up here in just a second. See that right there? People can type, and then it pops up right here on the screen. This is hopefully blowing her mind. We're in front of the universe right now. Is there anything you want to tell people? No. She's just sitting on some kind of like a box with a blanket on her and big old pair of headphones. Over here on the screen, you can't see this right here on this screen. This is where people can type, and I can see what they're saying. And my friend Justin, he says hi. Mommy typed in. She says, hi, Mel. Right there. She said it right there. I can see it in the little heart. Julia says, Julia's driving. This is Josh. That's confusing. We were heading home from Higher Gravity Summit Park. The Talkin' Tasters event. Have a great time. Oh, man, I wish I'd been able to get there. But then Julia says again, but I don't know if it's not Julia because Julia is not Julia. How are cookie sales going? How are cookie sales going? Good? Yeah, you hit your goal. Nailed it, right? And we keep upping your goal because we didn't understand how many cookies we were supposed to sell. Backyard Brews and Barbecues says, what's up, Gnome? And I say, what's up in return? So before we dive in too deep on this, we need to talk about what the point of this is. This is... I hesitate to say that this is not a show because it's becoming a show. It's becoming a thing. It's becoming a weekly thing that we do. Like it's not necessarily super structured. Like we just hang out and we drink together and talk about whatever is going on. But because we do it every Monday, it's kind of becoming a thing. And over time, this is going to become more of a thing. And you might get a little sneak peek at what that means today. But we need to crack open a beer. Marco says, hello, Gnome. Hello, Marco. Marco is having a truth. I don't have a beer open yet. So I rinse my glass, Melody, or Baby Gnome. I don't know how we're supposed to refer to you. I rinse it before we start the show, and then right before I pour my beer, I take whatever water is left in, and I just dump it on the floor. Okay, like this. Don't tell Mommy. So this is the beer that I'm going to drink. This is a gift from Keith. It is... All right, this is brewed and packaged by Pueblo Vida Brewing Company. The beer is called Check Please. It's an Imperial Breakfast Stout. Now, this beer is made with coffee and lactose. Do you know what lactose is? It's like milk. So it's like sugar. It's sweet. Like sweet with coffee. You want some of this? No. She made a really grumpy face when I offered it. Oh, got an offer. Ooh, that is dark. Do you hear Mommy thumping around upstairs? Yeah, she's probably mad that you're down here drinking beer with me. Oh, there she is. Mommy's standing in the doorway taking pictures of Baby Gnome. What do we call you? Do you need a good nickname? No.
My own name.
I don't. You want your own name? Like you want people to know who you are? So nobody knows my name. Nobody knows who I am. We always just call you Baby Gnome, but that was because you were little, like you were a little baby. You want a good nickname?
No.
Like Turd Gnome?
No.
I promise there's a person here talking to me. That's a little gnome. All right. So here we go. We're going to dive into this. Like I said, this is a Imperial breakfast stout. What is... Can you hear that? Yeah, she's making noise. Huh? Oh, she's getting little gnome a beer. It's water. All right, this is check please. Imperial breakfast stout. There's like Little Kings and stuff in there. You're more than welcome to. Are you just gonna like? She's just it's distracting. She's taking pictures of little gnome. Let's see. This is 8% ABV. It doesn't tell me a lot other than coffee and lactose. Let's dive in. Let's try it. All right, so people are chiming in with nicknames that they think you should have. Julia says you should be called Gnomelet. Gnomelet, you like that? Eh? All right.
I'll decide at the end.
You'll decide at the end. Justin says that Turd Gnome is very funny. Turd Gnome? You'll decide at the end. All right, let me try this beer. How's this look?
Dark.
You want to smell it? Here, let me scoot over here. Let her smell this. Here, smell this. Tell me what you smell. What's it smell like?
Ready old deer.
What is it?
Ready old deer.
What?
Ready old deer.
Old beer?
Ready old deer.
Brother old beer?
Rather old deer.
Rather old beer. It smells like rather old beer. Okay. Let me dive in and see if it smells like rather old beer. I should start an entire blog or a series of just her tasting notes or smelling notes of beers. Rather old beer. Let me see. Get it fresh. All right. No, it smells like coffee and chocolate.
No, I've never smelled chocolate or coffee.
You've never smelled chocolate or coffee. Can you guys hear her when she talks? Mommy says that you're saying regular old beer. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, I thought you were saying rather old beer. Sorry. I mean, it's like there's so much coffee there. You don't smell coffee at all?
No.
Here, smell it again.
Yeah, it smells like
Regular old beer. All right, whatever. I think it smells like coffee and chocolate. All right, let me try it. You want to try it? You want a big old swig?
No.
No. All right. I offered. It's only polite. Oh, it's smooth and creamy and super sweet. And that coffee comes in at the end. Oh, beanie or Turd Gnome, whatever we're calling you. That is good. It's good. One of these days, you're going to sit here with me and we're going to do this. That's fantastic. Cheers, Keith. Thank you. This is delicious. That's from Pueblo Vida. That's in Tucson, Arizona. Man, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Oh yeah. Well, I like that a lot. So aside from just hanging out and drinking beer together, we're going to talk about some stuff. Aside from the fact that Little Gnome, I think Little Gnome is funnier than Turd Gnome. Aside from the fact that Little Gnome is hanging out, which I enjoy, and she doesn't know it yet, but at one point she's going to become the gnarly gnome. This is all going to be her responsibility. You know that, right? No. I enjoy having her here, but we got to talk about some stuff that's been going on because there's a lot of stuff that's going on. And you guys are going to start to see kind of where this show kind of goes from here. And actually, I didn't set this up properly. That camera needs to be right about there. Okay. Now we'll see how I did. So we got to talk about some news because there's a lot of really wild news that's been happening or is in the middle of happening. Up first, over here. There it is. Braxton. You guys saw the news post on the website. Braxton is splitting off Garage Beer. We'll put it that way. They are taking Garage Beer and turning it into its own company. So what we knew as Garage Beer still exists, but it is now the Garage Beer Company. And I tried to kind of write a post about it a little bit. There's probably going to be more content that I put out about it, trying to explain kind of my thoughts about this thing. I think this over here, this is probably the biggest news that I want to talk about this week. Are you leaving? Are you going upstairs? Oh, you gotta. Okay, she's gotta go to the bathroom. Don't tell anybody. She's gotta go to the bathroom. This is probably the biggest news that I am going to talk about because, man, there's a lot of layers to this that I'm not ready to unpack quite yet. Marco says, "What do you think that means?" And then he says, "Do." I think this means something that we're going to see a lot of in the coming years. So between breweries selling, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and breweries spinning off something, it becomes very. Julia brings up a great point. She says it is all still considered Braxton owned, though, right? Kind of. So I don't know how all of that breaks down. My assumption, and I could be wrong on this. My fault for not asking the question when I was able to, but I think I was just assuming. I think Braxton still owns a portion of Garage Beer Company. I do know that Braxton is brewing Garage Beer. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know long term what the plans are for that. I know that as long as Braxton is able to keep brewing Garage Beer, I know that they have plans to keep brewing Garage Beer. As far as ownership breakdown, I don't know. I don't know the answer. I think they own a portion of it, but they don't own all of it. And there is definitely an ownership group that has come in, and it is a group. I don't know everybody involved in that group, but the idea is that Garage Beer can now become, short term, it can become a local light beer alternative for people that are just looking for beer, just beer-ass beer, like that thing that they want to drink when they're watching football, hanging out with their friends, hanging out in the garage. It's the thing. You spread that out a little bit, and it can become a regional thing. And then I think long-term, you can start to spread it out beyond that is the idea. But yes, Braxton still... I guess I can't say that for sure. I don't know for certain that Braxton still owns anything. I assume that they do. That is just my my gnome assumptions that I never asked because I'm not a news guy. It's not what I do. Let's see. Backyard Brews and Barbecues says American Pale Lager like Miller Lite. I wouldn't go as far as to say like Miller Lite. We can crack one open. Let's dive in. Hang on. I gotta walk and grab one out of the fridge. Hang on. Hang with me for a second. Talk for just a minute. I'm getting one. All right, so I don't have the old garage beer, the current garage beer. I have the new garage beer, which is right here. A little bit of a refresh. I don't know if this is the final can design. I think that there may be some changes that happened on this label. Here we go. Jake Rouse is on. Perfect. You're right. We may have a significant stake in the new entity. Partnership just allows the brand to invest and grow beyond our capability. Perfect. Just trying to figure it out. So I don't have the other garage beer to compare this to, although that's coming. Like I'm gonna do that, and I don't know if I told Jake that yet, but I'm gonna try them side by side. This is definitely lighter and a little bit more, I don't know, approachable. Is that how we talk about this? So it's still. God, it's still beautiful. So it's still light. It's golden, big fluffy white head on it. Look at that. It's pretty. It's still so it's got a good I would call it grainy is what I would call it. It smells like so there is a thing, and I don't know what this is specifically. I think it's probably some kind of grain thing that I get, but it reminds me of homebrewing. Like it reminds me of those days where I was single, living in an apartment, and we would brew in my apartment, and you get the 5-gallon pot sitting on the stove, and we would just like all day long we're cracking open beers, and like the whole apartment would start to like just smell like malt, and I think that's what this smells like to me. This reminds me of being single in an apartment. Home brewing. It's the home brewing. It's not single in an apartment. It's the home brewing. It's good, you guys. I don't know if it's better than what garage beer was. I don't know if it's better than, I did pull this out. I don't know if it's better for me than Bavarians. Camera doesn't like it. Can't get focused. There we go. Bavarians. I don't know if it's better than this. I don't know that it's not though. Like I really kind of like it. This is it's garage beer. The point of this is to fill your fridge. It's that beer that just becomes it becomes the thing that, like, when you have those people that come over, like, so the old man, he's been on Cincy Brewcast a few times. My wife says, we can make you single in an apartment. God, that sounds great. All I need is a room this big. This is all I need. So like, I lost my train of thought after my wife told me I was free. I think I'm single, guys, or ladies. I think I'm single, ladies. This is that beer that becomes the thing that when people come over and they say, I really don't like craft beer. I don't understand craft beer. But I'll take a beer. Like, this is a beer that satisfies them, but also kind of fits into that wiggle room for a for all of the other people. Sorry, there's text messages coming in now. It says, "Happy wife, happy life." my wife is fine, I think. Wife, are you happy? I think she's happy. She's not. She shouldn't be happy tonight. Backyard Brews and Barbecues says, I have a buddy like that. Yeah, there's always somebody. And so to me, the old man, he's, like I said, he's been on the show a few times. He's that kind of guy. Like, he likes craft beer and he appreciates craft beer. But he, sometimes he just wants a beer. And this is what would be that thing. I like it a lot. Like, this is what your fridge should be filled with. It's good. I don't have a ton to say about this quite yet. Over there. I still haven't figured out the mirror imaging of all of this. It's good stuff. Julia and my wife are planning a girls' night out. That leaves me with the kids. I don't agree with this. I don't agree. Next up, other big news. Listermann. We got to talk about it. Listermann is sold. See, I can't figure out this. I need to be over here. I'm never over here. I'm over here. All right. Listermann sold. Dan Listermann and Sue Listermann have retired. And with that, they are selling the business to outsiders. That's the best way I can put it. I have a lot of thoughts coming. I was hoping I would have them done for this week to post on the blog. That's clearly not going to happen. Julia says, too late, done deal, girls' night out. My wife is very boring, just for the record. Backyard Brews and Barbecues says, any word on the homebrew shop staying open? It is. So that's the biggest part about kind of the press release and the news and what they are saying right now is that everything, they're going to try to keep it all the same. Like, they're not going to drift too far. With that, my take, my completely unsanctioned, unconfirmed, they wouldn't talk to anybody, take is that at some point you have to start changing something. If you want to keep growing this thing and turn it into whatever your vision of what Listermann should be, or you got to change something. The homebrew shop, I don't know the breakdown of the business, and that needs to be known ahead of time. But I can't imagine that it is a big part of what they do. The tap room is where the money is. It's where the money always is. As much as I want the homebrew shop to exist, and as much as I think it's important, and it's a big part of what Listermann is and what Listermann was, that really doesn't make sense in today's market. You can get homebrew supplies on the internet for super cheap and efficiently, and they'll just arrive right on your doorstep. That doesn't answer the question of talking to somebody, but I I don't know. I think long term it doesn't make sense. My wife says that Little Gnome is not coming back. She wants to play a game and doesn't want to do it on silent mode. She asked my wife to send that to me on the chat thing. So I got it on the chat thing. She hung out for a minute. We're getting there. At one point, she'll be sitting here, and you guys, she will be the gnarly gnome. That's a fun road to go down. If we get through all these news items, we'll talk about that. I don't know these new owners of Listermann, Sherry and Steve. I think Terry and Steve. I talked to Terry a little bit via email and got a really great copy and paste email in return. It's fine. I think they were all kind of caught off guard a little bit with us talking about the fact that that the brewery sold. I don't think they were ready to talk about it as quick as we started to. They are from Canton, so they're not local, and I know that bothers a lot of people. Their daughter is from here, and like I said, I'm going to have a blog post. I'm going to dive into all of this. Their daughter does live here, and they definitely have drank a lot of Listermann beer. They've been fans of Listermann for a long time. We'll see. I don't know if I'm gonna jump on it and post fast, like everybody else is, or if I'm gonna wait a minute and kind of see how it shakes out and then make my opinion known. We'll see. I stopped in the other day, drank a bunch of beer, and it was all still good. There's not enough time for it to not be good. Of course it's good. All right, let's go to the next thing. The Beast. I know that this is not like real local news, but I still kind of really want to talk about it because this is a thing that is happening that I feel like we should know about and we should talk about, and it's strange, and I can't read my notes. Hang on. There we go. All right. So this is Monster Energy drink has a thing. Marco says he's had them. I have not tried any of them. I assume that much like the Mountain Dew, the hard Mountain Dew that I tried, it probably tastes just like Monster energy drinks, which is what it should do. But what are we doing? Like, why? Like, why is this over here? Why is this a thing? Marco says, yep. So I firmly believe that this is just the next hard Mountain Dew. And within that, it's just the next thing. It's just like we're shifting into this. There's a segment of the industry that is just focused on rolling through new stuff. Backyard Brews and Barbecues says, didn't Four Loko get banned? We'll talk about that because this definitely kind of falls into that category. It's this like the next thing, which is a definite segment of craft. It's not craft beer. It's not even really craft. It's like the industry. The industry from seltzer to hard tea to hard sodas to hard energy drink imitations, whatever it is. It's all the same stuff. And this is that. Like, and this will, like, a bunch of people are going to drink this, and it's going to sell a whole bunch, and then it's going to go away in the same way that hard Mountain Dew is going to go away. I'm really curious to why people are drinking it. I know why I want to try it, because it's like this morbid curiosity of a drinker just wanting to know what it tastes like and how they did it, and kind of diving into that. I don't think that's the average drinker, though. I think that there's a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, I love Monster. I'm gonna drink this. Same way that Mountain Dew was. I love Mountain Dew. I'm gonna drink it. It's just not sustainable. Marco says it's silly. It's like cartoons making new cartoons with the characters as adults instead of children or teenagers. Yeah, kind of. It's kind of that. But my thing is, like, if you love Monster energy drink, drink it. That's fine. I'm not going to judge you. Drink it and enjoy it, and do your thing. Why do you have to turn it into something else? Like, if I love, and I can't think of a thing that I can relate it to, but if I love buffalo wings, we're gonna go on a whole different tangent. If I love buffalo wings, and I do. I love them so much. I don't expect them to have alcohol in them. You could. And you could make boozy wings, but you shouldn't, because it doesn't belong. Like, they're different categories. You just keep them separate and let them live in their own little spots. That's kind of how I feel. Julia says, I want to try it for the just to try it factor for no other reason. Me too. And I think that's the most, I think that's why most people are drinking it. From Anonymous, who is more than able to comment on the actual show. Anonymous says, it's like Mountain Dew and leveraging brand equity. That brand equity is Monster. Profit, just profit. That's it. Like, it's just, you're taking something that somebody already feels strongly about, and you're sucking all of the life out of it and just pushing it into this other thing that people are going to jump on. It doesn't feel good. It feels bad. But it's a sign of a thing that I think we're going to see for a very long time, and that is this trend chasing. Not that we haven't really seen it already, but it's going to get weird, and this is it. If we can shift a little bit within this, somebody mentioned earlier the Four Loko. It opens up a whole other conversation. Let's see. Backyard Brews and Barbecue says, just because it's a liquid doesn't even it doesn't mean you need to put alcohol in it. I agree. And hard teas are kind of like, it's weird, but it's fun. Like, I freaking love the Geist tea. Like, it's good, but I don't know that I want my tea to have booze in it. I don't know that I want my lemonade to have booze in it. Like, we just don't need it. Not that it's bad, but we don't need it. Going on the alcohol caffeine thing, which is a definite topic. So the United States, I think it's a nationwide thing, like a federal thing. They outlawed adding caffeine to alcoholic beverages. Where we get into this weird kind of middle ground is beer, and this is a great example. This beer has coffee in it. I can guarantee that there is some amount of caffeine that has been translated between the two. So because you're added coffee, there's caffeine in here. That's okay. But if you take a juice or a Sparks or a Tilt or a Four Loko, it's wrong because you're like injecting artificial caffeine into the beverage. That's wrong, and that'll get you all messed up. But this is okay. I don't know that I agree with it. Like I recognize that what was happening with the Four Loko thing was kind of off the charts and was bad, and there was some really weird stuff happening there with people ingesting a lot of caffeine with a lot of alcohol, and that's not good. But there is like a balance there. It's not that this caffeine is natural, that it came from the coffee. It's the amount of caffeine that's in this beverage with the alcohol. It's all weird. It's strange. So to answer the earlier question, yes, you cannot put caffeine in an alcoholic beverage in the United States. So the Monster beverages, the Beast, I guess what they're calling them. That's the Beast, right? That's the Beast. That's so terrible. It doesn't have alcohol added to it. In fact, there's probably no alcohol in it at all, just to avoid all of that. But they could add coffee if they wanted to, because America. Julia says, what's next? Hard kombucha? And then Marco says, or pre-made Jello shots. Yeah, sometimes you get a pre-made Jello shot out of somebody's pocket. It happens. Next up, and this is the last news story, I promise. It's not a big news story, but we're coming off of a couple really great weeks of Cincy Brewcast, and one of those was with Rhinegeist. And they kind of talked about this a little bit in that they are rebranding and kind of revamping their big old beers. That's what I'm going to call them. The big Imperial IPA series. I think they're all IPAs that are going to be in this series. I don't know. We know that Knowledge is one of them. Terror Bird, which I have laid around here somewhere, and it's delicious. I think we got them to admit that Saber-Tooth Tiger is one of them, and then there's a fourth one that we did not get out of them, but we can kind of dive into their history, and we can figure it out. We can figure out what's coming. It's beautiful. I love this so much. Not that the typical Rhinegeist branding is bad. Clearly, it's not. We've everybody that likes to talk about craft beer marketing has talked about Rhinegeist at some point or another. They're killing it. This steps it up into this other kind of. This is Rhinegeist, but not, and I like that a lot, and it makes me feel good. Marco calls it the Dino Nugget series. I can see that. I can see the little over here, the little nuggets, and they don't all look like this. And then Julia says, Thule Monster is next from Rhinegeist prehistoric series. Thule Monster. I assume there's a joke there. I don't know. I don't get it. Thule Monster. Is that a thing? I don't know. I'm excited to see them kind of taking this branding that we've all come to know from Rhinegeist and splitting from it a little bit, and we've seen them kind of drifting from that from time to time. I have a can over there. I'm not gonna jump up and grab, but Julia says, "Did you listen to Truth Beer Pod?" It's totally a thing. I'm like maybe 20% into the episode. I did not finish it yet. So I don't know. Um, uh, I'm excited to see them kind of take the branding that we've all come to know, and not that it's not still there in this can, like it is there, but to take it and let it kind of become its own thing. That's fun for me. With that, we're running so late on this. We're at 40 minutes. Let's jump into Cincy Brewcast. You guys know the show. This week we sat down with Third Eye. Not this week. I sat down with them like weeks and weeks ago. But this week it's debuting. Oh man, I have been trying to sit down with, especially with Kelly. Not that I don't love Tom, but Kelly. We have not sat down since Brink was opening their doors. So it was fun to kind of sit down and chat with him and kind of dive into where he's at mentally with all of this. We talked about the new Hamilton location, we'll call it the new mystery third location, which we're not supposed to say where it is, but start doing some math. You guys can figure it out. Marco says third location in the east, so at blank. And I'm not going to say that because I'm not going to say it because I don't think I'm supposed to. Julia says, is that a Victory Pints t-shirt you're wearing? We'll get there in a second. So Third Eye is not that they haven't been going hard for a long time, but they are just like downshifting into second gear and just shooting off into this other realm that I think is going to be it's going to put them into a different category. And there are other places that are doing that currently too, and High Grain is a big one, but we didn't have them on Cincy Brewcast, so I need to get them on the show. I've been trying to get them on the show for a very long time. If anybody from High Grain is currently listening, we need to schedule a show. Like really need to schedule a show, but we didn't, so we'll jump into Drinking with the Gnome. And as Julia pointed out, my shirt, Victory Pints, Drinking with the Gnome. That has been, not specifically this show, but Victory Pints, I've been working really hard to get them on the show for a long time, trying to figure out how to make it happen. But also just Drinking with the Gnome, just trying to figure out how to logistically make it make sense and how to find time to make it make sense has been tough. We'll get there. Let's see. Some of this I understand, some of it I don't. Julia says, fourth location on the west side for Third Eye. And then Marco says, where do dat bees? I think that's a reference to the west side. And Julia says, show up to the What You Into podcast. I think it's not what you into, it's what you into, right? Like it's like what you into. It's something else. At High Grain on Thursday at 6 p.m. I may or may not be there. It's on my calendar, but I can't promise that they, and I say they in reference to the people that are thumping around above me. I can't promise that they agree. But it's on my calendar, so I should be there. I'd love to be there. I hope to be there. I need to be there. I'm so excited for some of those things that are happening for High Grain. But Victory Pints, that was the subject of Drinking with the Gnome. It's in Maineville, like way out there. depending on where you live, I guess. It is one of those places that sometimes people look at and they're like, is that really Cincinnati? I say yes. And I say that this is one of those places that is definitely doing things different than what other places are doing in Cincinnati. Sat down and talked to Bradley. Good dude. He knows who they are and why they exist, and he is going headfirst into that. And I hope that people support that, because it's a fun place. If you go there during the day, it feels like a coffee shop. You go there in the evening, it feels like a bar. You can get food. You can play games. You can show up like it's your living room and just hang out and play a board game. Like it's cool stuff. So I hope that they do well with that, and I hope that everybody kind of supports them in that and kind of understands what the point of it is. With that, we are way over the time that we were supposed to be kind of covering some of those news items, but that's kind of where this show is going, and I hope you guys kind of can start to see that and see what we're doing with this. Thank you for hanging out. If you like this, if you like any of this, go to thenarlygnome.com/support, because that's how all of this keeps kind of going. That's how we do this together. If you want it to get bigger, share it with a friend. That's also kind of important. If not, just we'll be here every Monday or so. Sometimes I guess we have to bump things till Tuesday or something, but whatever. We'll figure it out. Thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate you. If you want to have any input on what we talk about later, shoot me a message and we'll talk about it. Let's see. Julia said, so on the west side, duh. Marco says, so downtown. That's a shout out to Saunders Stories. Marco says, how was Loveland and the Berries place? I hate it. I don't want to pour my own beer. And that's, I think that's something that I need to understand about myself. When I go to a bar, I want to sit at a bar and I want to have somebody else pour my beer for me, and I want to talk to them about it, and I want to hang out. I don't want to pour my own beer. And I think that's probably a me problem that I'm learning. I assume, and this is an assumption that may be incorrect, but I assume that there are people that like to have the freedom to pour their own beer. I don't know. It seems silly. It just seems silly when I say it. Like, it doesn't make sense. Why do you want to do the work yourself? And then you still tip at the end of the night. Whatever. Marco agrees. He says, I don't want to pour my beer. Whatever. I get it. It's a thing. It's fun. It's a good way to hang out with your friends, I guess. I don't know. I'm not disparaging them and their business. We'll be back, and I'm gonna do like a full actual dive into what that is. But Marco says, because the customer service was great. It's always the best bartender I've ever had. Me. Whatever, guys. Do what you do. If you want to serve yourself, serve yourself. If you want somebody else to do it, let somebody else do it. Just drink local, because that's what it's all about. That's what it means to be gnarly. I mean, it's way more complicated than that, but whatever. See you guys later. Sorry, Little Gnome didn't hang out longer. We'll see you next week. Cheers, everybody. can't think of a single instance where I want to serve my own beer. I want to hang out with somebody else. Isn't that part of the point? Isn't that why we do this? Jeez.